A few weeks back, my son and I were out on the golf course. We got paired up with a couple of guys in their early 70s, and after a few holes of polite conversation, they asked me what I did for a living. I told them that I write books and create videos on retirement planning. Immediately their eyes lit up, and one of them asked me a question that I think every retiree and pre-retiree wonders at some point. He said, "What is the single biggest mistake you see people making when preparing for retirement?" That's a great question, and I didn't hesitate in my response. I said, the biggest mistake you can make in retirement is failing to plan for taxes. You see, most people spend their entire careers saving money in tax-deferred accounts like 401ks and IRAs. It feels good because you're getting a tax deduction along the way. Your balance grows larger every year, and it gives you the illusion that all that money belongs to you. But the truth is, it doesn't. A large portion of that money belongs to the IRS, and how much you ultimately get to keep depends on what tax rates happen to be in the year you take that money out. Think about that for a moment. You've spent 40 years building your nest egg, and you have no idea how much of it you'll actually be able to spend. Why? Because you don't control the tax rate at which those distributions will be taxed. Congress does. And if you've been paying attention to the direction of our country's fiscal health, you know that tax rates are much more likely to go up in the future than they are to go down. Let me explain why. Right now, our national debt is north of $37 trillion and climbing. By 2035, just 10 years from now, the interest on that debt alone will consume nearly half of all federal revenue. Think about that. Half of every tax dollar going just to pay interest. Not Social Security, not Medicare, not defense, not education, just interest. And what do we get in exchange for all that interest? Absolutely nothing. We're just renting the money we've already spent. By 2035, the U.S. will need massive infusions of new tax revenue just to keep the lights on. And where do you think that money is going to come from? From the very tax-deferred retirement accounts that Americans have been stuffing full of pre-tax dollars for decades. So here's the problem. If you arrive at retirement with the vast majority of your wealth sitting in tax-deferred accounts, you've essentially put yourself in a position where the government gets to decide what percentage of your money you actually get to keep. And the higher tax rates go, the less purchasing power you'll have to fund your retirement lifestyle. Now, some people will say, well, aren't tax rates at near historic lows right now? Shouldn't I just keep deferring because I'm going to be in a lower tax bracket in retirement? That's the traditional wisdom, and maybe that worked for a previous generation, but the math just doesn't work out anymore. Because of our skyrocketing debt and unfunded obligations, tax rates are going up, not down. Which means, unless you take proactive steps right now, you're going to get smacked by a massive tax freight train in retirement. And here's where it gets worse. When you reach your early 70s, the government doesn't just politely ask you to start taking money out of your IRAs and 401ks. They require it. It's called a required minimum distribution, or RMD. And these RMDs can be big enough to push you into a higher tax bracket and cause your Social Security to be taxed. That means you'll end up running out of money far more quickly than you ever thought possible. And here's the most painful part. By the time you reach your 70s, it could be too late to do anything about it. Tax rates may have already doubled, and at that point, the IRS has you right where they want you, which is why the real mistake isn't something you do at 70. It's what you fail to do in your 50s and 60s when you still have time to reposition your money into tax-free accounts. So what does that mean in practical terms? It means you need to start shifting money from tax-deferred accounts to tax-free accounts. That could be through strategic Roth conversions. It could mean contributing to a Roth 401k if your employer offers one. It could mean using life insurance retirement plans that grow tax-free and allow you to access your money tax-free in retirement. The key idea is this: you don't want to be taking the lion's share of your retirement income from taxable accounts at a time when tax rates are bound to be much higher than they are today. Now, you may be thinking, that sounds great, but doesn't shifting money to tax-free accounts mean I have to pay taxes today? Yes, it does. But here's the point. You're going to be paying taxes on that money at some point. The question isn't if you're going to pay taxes, it's when and at what rate. And if you believe, as I do, that tax rates in the future are likely to be dramatically higher than they are today, then paying a known rate today is far better than paying an unknown higher rate down the road. So here's the silver lining. You still have around 10 years before tax rates are likely to go up for good. You still have time to create multiple streams of tax-free income, none of which show up on the IRS's radar, but all of which contribute to you being in the 0% tax bracket in retirement. That way, if tax rates double, 2 times 0 is still 0. You got multiple tax-free buckets that the IRS can't touch, and that will increase the likelihood that your money lasts as long as you do. So when people ask me what's the single biggest mistake you can make in retirement, here's my answer. It's going into retirement without a tax strategy. It's assuming that the government is going to keep tax rates low forever when the math simply doesn't support that. It's failing to take advantage of historically low tax rates while they're still around. I want to leave you with this. Retirement isn't just about how much money you've saved. It's about how much of that money you actually get to spend. And if you fail to plan for the impact of taxes, you could lose control of your financial future at the exact moment when you need certainty the most. So don't make that mistake. Be proactive. Start building your tax-free retirement plan right now while you still have the luxury to do so. Because remember, in the end, it's not just about growing your wealth. It's about keeping it. And the best way to do that is to get to the 0% tax bracket where you're insulated from the impact of rising taxes forever. This is David McKnight. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.